Hello, I'm James Wells, Education Manager at Crayola. We are excited to share this Art of Learning series with everyone who educates children. Art helps us to learn about all sorts of topics. Today, in celebration of STEAM Month, we will be discussing how a young girl who built larger-than-life structures was able to overcome challenges using a STEAM mindset. So gather some art supplies and get ready for a hands-on learning session. I'm thrilled to kick things off with today's guest, Kim Smith. Hello, Kim.
Hi, James. Hi, everyone out there. Thanks so much for having me.
So, Kim, you are an author and New York Times best-selling illustrator of more than 30 books, including Boxitects. Book illustrations can be an important way for children to immerse themselves in art. Where did your passion for illustration come from? And how did you become a children's book author and illustrator?
I've always had a love of creating images ever since I can remember. I've also had a pretty vivid imagination. I've always been picturing places, characters, and colors that I wanted to put down on the page. And by practicing at drawing and creating images, it's kind of allowed me to bring those things in my head to life on the page. Some of my favorite things to come up with are characters, both human and animal. So when drawing these characters, I'm often inventing stories for them, which kind of led me down the path to writing. So I've been lucky enough to be able to turn some of those stories that I'm coming up with in my sketchbooks into longer stories and putting them into books, which is kind of how I became both a writer and an illustrator of children's picture books.
I'm sure our listening audience, especially our kids, using their imagination and unlocking that to create characters and stories is certainly something that will resonate with them. So one of the things we know, Kim, is STEM and STEAM experiences are popular in education and help build future-ready students. Could you define the term Boxitect and tell us about what inspired this book?
Sure. So the word Boxitects comes from a combination of two things. The first word is box. So that comes from cardboard boxes. And the second word, tect, actually comes from the word architect, which is someone who designs buildings. So it's basically someone who designs things from cardboard boxes. In the book Boxitects, it not only is about buildings, but also constructing anything from boxes like ships or cars or anything you can imagine.
Hearing you say that buildings, cars, using boxes to build these things, I know that our audience is thrilled to hear this book. So, Kim, would you please read Boxitects?
Boxitects. Meg was a Boxitect. She loved to make things out of boxes. She loved making tiny houses, tall towers, and twisty tunnels. And she made marvelous things no one had ever seen before. Meg was proud of her work. She could make boxes into anything. Meg's mother was proud too. She thought Meg was brilliant and creative. So Meg's mother sent Meg to maker school where she could be even more brilliant and creative. At maker school, there were blanketeers, spaghetti techs, tin foilers, and egg cartoneers. There was almost any kind of maker you could imagine. But Meg was the class's first Boxitect, and that made her feel special. At school, Meg learned all about boxitecture. She learned how to make her structures useful, strong, and beautiful. Meg loved everything about maker school until Simone showed up. Like Meg, Simone was new. She was also brilliant and creative. Worst of all, Simone was a Boxitect too. And she was already making things Meg had never dreamed of. In class, Simone would point out ways Meg could make her constructions a little straighter, more wind-resistant, and less boring. So Meg told Simone she should build things that were less bumpy, sturdier, and much prettier. On the last day of school, the class's annual maker match was held to see who can make the most amazing thing. There was just one rule. You had to work as a team. But Meg didn't want to work with anyone, and neither did Simone. The Blanketeers built with blankets and pillows, the Spaghetti-Techs built with pasta and glue, the Bakeologists built with cake and frosting. But the Boxitects were not building at all. They were arguing. I want to make a treehouse, Meg said. No, I want to make a ship, Simone insisted. Meg drew a line down the middle of a very large box. I'll take this half, you can have the other. Fine, said Simone. Soon Meg noticed that her treehouse wasn't as large as Simone's ship, so she made her side taller and more impressive. When Simone noticed that Meg's treehouse was taller than her ship, she made her side higher and more extraordinary. Slowly, Meg and Simone's creation grew bigger and bigger. They both built and built until there wasn't a single box left. And at last, they finished. What is it? Asked a classmate. I've never seen anything like it, said another. The teacher said, it looks like it might, said a small fly. Harash! Your side was too wobbly, shouted Meg. Your side was too heavy, cried Simone. Oh dear, said the judge. The maker match was not over yet, but most of Meg and Simone's work was ruined. There were only a few parts left that could be saved. If we combine my treehouse with your ship, Meg started, we might be able to make one thing, finished Simone. The Boxitects decided to call a truce so they could finish the match. Working as a team, Meg and Simone quickly joined the remaining pieces together until they had created something new. At the end of the maker match, the Boxitects hadn't won first place, but they had a different way of making brilliant and creative things, working together. And they each gained a new friend. What should we make next? Asked Meg. How about a buoyant bungalow? Suggested Simone. Or a motorcycle mansion, said Meg. The end.
Wow, Kim, thanks so much for reading this remarkable story. At the end of the book, you talk about the requirements of being a Boxitect and suggest some experiments. You have inspired a lot of kids to become builders. Tell our viewers how they can get started being a Boxitect.
Yeah, so really the only thing you need to start being a Boxitect is cardboard. And sometimes you need some supplies to help put it together. So either glue or tape and some other tools to help decorate it, like crayons, markers, anything you can stick on cardboard. You just really need to apply your imagination to the cardboard that you have and start building. It's pretty simple.
I love the minimalist approach. Imagination, cardboard, tape. I can certainly resonate with that being a parent. My kids with cardboards and markers and various other tools, like no material is safe when it comes to building. So thank you for that very minimalist approach to becoming a Boxitect. Kim, in the book at the 5th annual Maker Match, one important rule was to work as a team. And we know that Meg and Simone had to do that. And collaboration, we know, is essential in the STEAM and STEM fields as scientists, technologists, engineers, artists, and mathematicians work together to design buildings, cars, and public works of art. Can you talk about the importance and benefits of collaboration through your work?
Collaboration is such an important part of the process of creating things. Sometimes you can make things on your own, like we saw at the beginning of Boxitects when Meg was creating things, and that's fine. But when you work together as a team, you can get new ideas to improve your creations. Your team members can offer their different skills. So sometimes people can be better at design, or some people might be better at decoration, or some team members might be better at building things. So you can take each one of these skill sets and incorporate them into your team to make it stronger. Also, when working on a project alone, sometimes you can miss mistakes. So for instance, in Boxitects, when the Boxitects, both Meg and Simone were just building and building and building, they might not have seen, or they didn't see, how high and how unstable their creations were getting. So if they were working together, maybe one of them could see, oh, maybe your cardboard structure is leaning forward a little bit, and maybe save it before it falls over and everything goes wrong. Working as a collaborative team, sometimes individually, when working on our own, we can get stuck on a problem. But as a team, we can use all of our brains to overcome that problem and maybe come up with different ideas, because everybody has different experiences, different ways of looking at things in order to solve those problems. Usually having more brains is better than just having one brain and one idea.
Thank you, Kim, for sharing these many examples regarding collaboration. Now, in the story, Meg and Simone are amazing builders and realize that they can make brilliant and creative things by working together. Many of our students will be working on STEAM projects this school year that require collaboration. Can you show us how to illustrate collaboration like you have done in the book Boxitects?
Yeah, so for first demo here, I'm going to be creating an image of Meg and Simone lifting a box together, and then we are going to use a collaborative process to add to that image. What you need to create this drawing is just a piece of paper. Any piece of blank paper will work. And then you need a tool to draw with. And so today I'm using crayons, but feel free to use colored pencils or markers if you have those handy. So the first step in our drawing is creating the rough drawing. I'm going to use a darker tone brown so you can see what I'm doing. So I'm going to start the drawing by blocking in some simple shapes of her characters. So I'm going to put Meg's head in first. So that's a circle. And then I'm going to start blocking in the box that our two characters are lifting. And this drawing, as you can see, it's a little bit scribbly and a little bit rough, and that's okay. We don't have to get everything perfect. We're going to go back and fix the lines later. The next thing I'm going to do is add Simone's head on the other side, because Meg is kind of passing this box back to Simone. So again, her head is the same simple shape as Meg's, and it's kind of a round circle. So on this side here, Meg's going to be lifting the box. So I'm going to use kind of a triangular shape for Meg's arm. I'm going to add in her eye, looking to Simone, lifting the box. And I'm going to start kind of drawing in some details on her face. Her body is going to be angled back, so it's kind of a rectangular shape. And add in a little bit of her hand. Her legs are just rectangular shapes. And then Simone's going to be on the other side, looking at Meg, passing her the box. I'm going to add a nose in. I'm going to add wear these little safety hats at Maker School. So I'll add that in. And then I'm just quickly drawing the little shapes, her glasses and mouth. Her arm is kind of the same kind of triangular shape. Her body is a bit of a rectangle. I did it a little bit too long, so I can shorten that up. And then she's going to be kind of stepping forward, taking the box. I'm going to add in Meg's hat kind of underneath the box. And then her hair. And then Simone's shorts. Her other arm is kind of in the back. So this is kind of my rough drawing. So once I kind of have this all planned, I can go in and start making the lines that I like a bit darker so we can actually see what our characters are doing. So I'm going to take a black crayon and start outlining the lines that I like. And I can still make adjustments at this point. So there's Meg's sleeve. And then I can also add little details like her collar for her vest. And then you can really see our drawing start to take shape. Now this can sometimes take a little while to start redrawing the drawing that we had just done. So I've gone ahead and created this drawing, which has all the line work done. So now we're going to do our collaborative process in this, because this is Meg and Simone. They just don't build an ordinary box. They build something more exciting. So what I'm going to do in this collaborative process is I'm going to imagine Meg and Simone adding different ideas to this box by taking turns. So Meg likes to build buildings. So I'm going to say Meg is going to add a window to her box. And Simone likes building vehicles. So I'm going to add maybe a propeller to the top. So maybe she's building an airplane. Now I'm going back and forth on these ideas because I'm designing this drawing myself. But another way that you could collaborate on this drawing is by creating the basic drawing with a friend and then switching your drawings back and forth. And you can keep adding different things to it to kind of come up with something new. So maybe Simone's added a wheel. And maybe Meg has added a chimney. And then maybe Simone added another wheel in the back. And maybe Meg added a front door to this creation. And so now that we have that all done, we can start adding some colors into our drawing. So I'm going to use a dark brown for Meg. Simone has a lighter skin tone, so we're going to add that to her. And you could even color this drawing with a friend. You could take turns, you could split the image in half and take turns coloring different parts of it. Drawing can be a really fun and collaborative process. Make sure it is pink. Add that in there. Both of their little hard hats are yellow. So because I made that initial drawing, that rough sketch in that mid-tone brown color, we're kind of able to go in and color over top of everything. So you don't have to worry about making it perfect to begin with. That's Simone's glasses, which are red. Simone has a purple jacket, or kind of a magenta pink jacket with a purple collar. And I think there's a purple kind of details on the sleeve and the part that goes around her waist. She has the same kind of magenta colored shorts. Meg's vest is kind of a turquoisey color. And Meg's hair tie is red. And her shoes are green. And then we can go in and add color to the Boxitect structure that they've built. So I'll use a brown to kind of represent the bigger box, because oftentimes it takes a lot of paint to paint over the cardboard. So we'll say that most of the cardboard box is showing on here. Just kind of fill that in. But some of the details, they will have gone in painted over. So you can use any colors you'd like. I'm just going to choose ones that feel like would be good colors to use today. So I'm going to make the door blue, the window kind of a reddy orange color, and then maybe the propeller orange, and maybe the wheel I'll make green. So I'm just going to add a little shadow between the two of them. They're going back in space, and that will help create some depth into our picture. So it looks a little bit more 3D. So you can see the shadow of this big creation that they've made in between the two. So that's how you can make a collaborative drawing, both Meg and Simone. I hope you have fun with it.
Wonderful, Kim. I love how you illustrated the two girls working together. In the book, cardboard is their choice of material to build amazing, larger-than-life structures. There are elements in the cardboard that make it an extraordinary building material. Talk to us about the folding and accordion elements inside of the cardboard and how we can make designs to create our custom cardboard pieces.
Yeah, so the reason why cardboard is so extraordinary is you can see on this piece of cardboard right here that it's got these little V shapes in it. So basically what's been done is that you have these layers of paper. So paper on its own is pretty flimsy and not very strong. So what's been done is that they've taken the piece of paper and made an accordion shape like this. So basically it's paper just folded back and forth on itself like this, all the way up and placed in between two pieces of paper, and it's been glued together. So these 3 layers of paper together create the corrugation we see in cardboard. And that's what makes it super strong. So I'm going to show you how to make patterns and designs on your cardboard, your super strong cardboard creations like Meg and Simone have done in the book. So what you'll need for this project is you'll need a piece of cardboard. It can be any shape or size. This is just mine right here. You'll need some glue. So have white glue. I also have some glue sticks here. You can use either. You'll need scissors. And you're going to need construction paper. So I have these really big sheets here, which are great because they cover a lot of the area of cardboard. And I've gone and selected 3 colors that we're going to be using in our design. So I have pink and green and blue. And then you're going to need some tools for decorating. So they can be anything. Here I have the crayons. I also have these really wonderful pastels. And then I also have markers to decorate with. So to decorate our cardboard, we are going to be creating patterns out of simple shape. The simple shape that I'm going to be using today is a triangle. So what we're going to do with our pieces of construction paper is just start cutting out triangles. They can be all sorts of different sizes. So to create a triangle, I just cut a straight line and then another straight line together. And that's one. So you're just going to cut as many triangles as possible, and big ones and little ones out of all the pieces of paper. So there are a couple of blue ones to show a few here, and we have some triangles. So this can take a long time to cut a lot of triangles out of all the pieces of construction paper. So I've gone ahead and cut out a bunch of different triangles. Here's some pink ones and the green ones and the blue ones. So I'm just going to set these off to the side, and then I'm going to start placing them individually on the cardboard sheets. And it doesn't really matter kind of where you place them. It's just kind of randomly. They can be facing different ways. They can be different sizes. You're just kind of creating a pattern with that same simple shape. They can come off the page a little bit. The reason why I had them different sizes is because you can layer them on top of each other and create a little bit more interesting of a pattern. It's a little bit more eye-catching. And once you've done that and you've covered the whole page, you can start to glue them down. So I'm just taking a glue stick and trying to get all the corners on the back. So we'll stick. And then I'm going to do this with each piece of paper. So for the ones that bleed off, you can take your scissors very carefully, just trim the edges. So it looks like the pattern is going across the whole sheet of the cardboard. Now, again, like cutting the triangle, this might take a little while to do. So sometimes they might not look quite right. So sometimes I just trim them a little bit to make some of the little triangles smaller if you're having trouble layering them on top of each other. Or you might like the look of layering on top of each other. You can kind of do whatever you feel like. So once you have all those triangles placed with glue, you can start decorating them. One of the things I like to decorate with is glitter glue. So I'll kind of go in and start drawing just more triangles. So we're using that same different shape just over and over again to create a pattern. I've gone ahead and completed the whole pattern on a piece of cardboard here. Now this might be where you stop. This might be a completed pattern for you, but you can still go in and add more. So if you wanted to add more color, you could take your crayons and start drawing in over top just to make the most eye-catching pattern that you like. So that's one way to create a pattern on cardboard. Now I wanted to show a second way to create a different pattern by using the exact same shape in a different way. So what you'll need for this pattern is I'm going to use markers, and you'll need a new piece of cardboard. For this pattern, instead of using different shaped triangles like we had just used, we're going to use the same triangle, the same size, just flipped to create an entirely new pattern. So I'm going to start in the middle of the box, and I'm going to use a blue marker to create one triangle. And then I'm going to color it in. And then I'm going to go right beside it and draw the same triangle. And then I'm going to color that one in. And you're going to keep repeating this process on the whole piece of cardboard. And even though we're drawing the same size of triangles, I still like to mix it up by using different colors. So I'm going to switch to a green one, and I'm going to take the same size of triangle, rotate it, and flip it upside down to create the next triangle. You're going to keep going across your piece until you fill the whole thing with the same triangles. So I've gone ahead and done that as well. And this is what I came up with. So you can see that by using the same shape, you can come up with two entirely different designs. And you can still play around some more. So I've used the triangles again to create an entirely new pattern using the pastels. I also wanted to show an example of some of the different shapes. So I've gone ahead and created a box with using just heart designs. Or I've done this pattern by using triangles, squiggles, and dots to create a pattern as well. Or on this one, I've used construction paper and the pastels to create an entirely new pattern. So I hope you had fun using simple geometric shapes and creating exciting patterns for your Boxitect creations.
Whoa, Kim, thank you for showing us a variety of ways to use art materials to create on cardboard boxes, from markers to crayons to construction paper. And I love how you showed the variety of ways to create the same shape with construction paper, markers, right? You had your drawings on the cardboard. So lovely, lovely. Thank you so much for these incredible demos. While viewers are finishing their creations, I have a special message for parents and teachers. Keep learning fun and colorful by signing up to receive the Crayola Education free monthly e-newsletter. Just check the education box to get updates about all of our programs, including the Art of Learning series, delivered right to your inbox. After this session, kids will have plenty of time to finish their creations. Parents and teachers, please share photos of their art in the comment section of this video. We look forward to seeing what they create. Okay, Kim, as an illustrator and Boxitect, you take ordinary things like lines, shapes, and colors and make extraordinary illustrations. Many of our young viewers aspire to have creative careers. What closing comments do you want to share with young artists and engineers as building blocks for their future?
The biggest thing that I wanted to share with young artists and engineers is that don't give up from failure. If you have trouble like drawing something complicated like a horse or a bicycle, or if your engineering project isn't quite turning out the way you thought it was, just keep trying. It can be very frustrating. I know, especially when I'm drawing something new. I especially have trouble with drawing hands and horses and bicycles. I just keep at it. And by not giving up, that's how you kind of learn and get better at it. And also, don't be afraid to ask for help from others, because like I mentioned before, collaboration can lead to solving those problems, and you can kind of find wonderful new ideas from that.
Wow, thank you, Kim. Practice makes progress. Kim, we want to thank you for joining us today. We also want to thank our friends at Harper Kids for publishing this awesome book. And we want to thank all of you for joining us today. Build big dreams, one box at a time.
Bye. Thanks so much for having me.
Take care, everyone.